Hi everyone, long time no see. Um, yeah, so I wasn't planning on doing this video. It was a bit impromptu because I was thinking of making a post, an Instagram post or something on written platform like written article or Instagram post or something like that, not really words, not really video. But then what I was about to say was so nuanced, and it wasn't really possible for me to capture everything succinctly in like little short um, bubbles of expressions written. So I had to make it a video. And anyway, I felt like I wanted to express a lot. It involved nuance of the tone and everything. So here I am. I wanted to share about my insights as a parentified child, um, regarding social anxiety that I feel and awkwardness, just losing sense of self in a crowd, among people, anywhere social, and just feeling lost and lesser than. Sorry if you see me looking down. I wrote notes, so I have to look at those notes to say gather my thoughts. Yeah. So basically, the feeling of anxiety paired with groundlessness and the feeling of lesser than that many of us who are parentified would feel. I got some insights on that throughout my process of healing that I'm gonna go on forever, but yeah, I felt right to jot it down and share. So the first thing is, those of us who are parentified, maybe you're an older child or eldest daughters, have this very, ugh, it's such a prevalent, it's almost disgusting. Um, you associate person or people with giving, energy giving, and you don't know how to fill your own cup, or you have never had your cup filled. No one gave you. You are trained to give to people. You associate people with giving. That's what you're trained at home. Now, walk into a group setting with a lot of people. Suddenly, you are overloaded because instead of giving to one parent or two parent or maybe a sibling or a grandma, whatever it is, whose emotional carrier you are, all of a sudden your pattern is turned on and you're like, wow, that's hundreds people, 5 people, 6 people, so many people, and your brain is confused because you don't know them. You're not accustomed to these people and the expectation that is expected of you, so that you can go back to operating into your pattern of socializing, which is to give, instead of receiving, except for the norm of socializing is kind of like share, give, take, share, right? So that's gonna throw you off. So first thing first is that split, because your energy is scattered everywhere. You can feel it once you're conscious. Over time, you become more and more aware with the work of trauma and stuff that you do. You realize that once you enter a social setting of any kind and a lot of people, the feeling of loss of self before that is this feeling of feeling everywhere, like your energy is scattered. and you don't know how to gather it because gathering is kind of like the opposite of giving, 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 right? So that's one thing. That's the first one. Second thing is, um, you walk into these social settings, especially if you are a city dweller. I noticed it more with people who grew up in cities, like youth socialization in cities, maybe because of the fast paced and the sense of individuality being such a big priority. Social settings value those things. That's the subconscious current that's actually quite loud and playing. It's like everybody is coming with their own strong sense of color, individuality, hobbies, preferences. The boundaries you can detect is very strong. Like, that's the thing with those of us who are in this stupid pattern is that you don't have a sense of self. So when a sense of self energy body does come, you can feel that concentration of energy and essence and that stark difference. And then you feel that in this setting where that is so valued, where the expectation is kind of to showcase your individuality, whether it's what games you play, what your hobbies are, what's your vacation, anything it is all about you, and your individuality. And I will say that the thing with city socialization among youths, right? I cannot speak for everywhere. I'm talking about growing up in city. Uh, but specifically, I noticed this among city dwellers is that it's a play of cool points, who has a cool factor, subconsciously who is the most attractive, desirability. It's all of that. It's not very it's not about human connection so much. It's a lot about that, like who is the cooler one, that kind of feeling. That is a pendulum swing opposite to what you have been trained to do, man. You have been trained to give, 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 give. For someone to have such a strong sense of self that they are able to thrive within the competition of who is the most individually cool, attractive sense of personality, you need to be very special. You need to be growing up feeling that strong boundary, strong sense of individuality. And the idea is probably your parents are giving you, gives a lot of presence to what you like, you dislike, what kind of toys you like all of these, who you are in your boundaries, in your preferences, in your yeses and nos are valued, not the parentified child. Your value is what you can do for other people. That's gonna throw your brain off. That is also immediately going to register as shame. You're gonna feel that. It's not only a overload of something that you're not trained to do but is expected of you in that setting. On top of that, you're gonna feel the shame for not being that. I wanna say that I can't really confirm it from my unique insights, but something within us knows that immediately once you encounter the contrast of what you are, that is more in alignment with how things should be. I'm not advocating for narcissists or individualists or people who live in a bubble reality. I'm talking about having boundary and having a defined sense of self. the minute you encounter people who has more of that or lives more in that spectrum, you're going to immediately register that that is more correct than what I am, and that's going to give you a lot of shame for not being able to have that. And at the same time, you're going to yearn for it. Once you come across that, you're going to yearn for that. You're going to yearn to be that kid who is very weighted in their presence, who doesn't get nervous when a setting changes, who is able to hold their own, who you can feel has a lot of sense of personal value. Out of everyone in the room, the person who has not been taught that, like the parentified child, will be able to feel that contrast the most. So you're gonna really feel that and yearn that. And this is one of my personal hell, if you could say, is that I noticed that a lot of us who are parentified daughters, we attract a lot of people around us who are the only child or youngest child. Only child and youngest child are people who get a lot of attention at home, often. They are not emotional carriers of their parents. They are literally like their apple of an eye. So I attract that a lot, and even more you can feel that from them, that sense of what you're not that they are, and the shame of that. So yeah, and at the same time you have all this going on, that shame, scatteredness, not knowing what to do, the pendulum is swinging in the other way, and at the same time your operating pattern is to give, give, give. So now you're trying to detect how I can give to this crowd, this huge crowd, because you don't know boundary, you don't have boundary, you don't know what it means to, oh, I feel so uncomfortable, I need to excuse myself. You don't know that because you're not taught boundaries. So you start to figure out that you need to give, and you start to figure out you need to give by somehow showcasing your individuality, your color, your personality, external personality, whatever it is, um, from an empty cup. So it's like, it's so ridiculous. It's like pitch black pretending to be white so they can fit with other whites. I'm not talking race here, please don't misunderstand me. I'm just giving you an analogy of how ridiculous it is, and this pattern that we opt into uh, is really, it's a huge overload to your nervous system, to your cognitive system. It's a huge overload because it's like the opposite. You're in the opposite end of the spectrum while operating from here when you're like here. So yeah, you learn to be fake eventually. You fake individuality. You figure out the subconscious need or what is going to please people, and you become that. It's not pouring from a full cup, which everybody else will be doing. you are going to be overextending and overgiving from an empty cup, vying for their approval and wanting to be part of what they are, because that desire is there, to close the gap between not having any value for being oneself and having that strong sense of individual presence and self and everything. So yeah, you're going to, that's where the people pleasing patterns kick in. And whether it is sense of humor, some people have, other people are like way too loud, other people figure out what everyone or anyone might need, because the empath senses are quite strong also, and then becomes that, you know. So now this is what happened. You walk into social settings, your energy is split and scattered everywhere, shame is operating, you're giving from a depleted cup, you your desire is pulling you, and at the same time uh, you don't know how to fulfill that because you don't know how to be like those people. This is a war zone, internal war zone. Internally, your system is so beyond overextended by that. Like, social anxiety is like kind of the solution to stop you from going there. That was my insight. That the reason why I'm like, everything heart is palpitating, I'm shutting down, people don't feel good, is because I don't I don't fit there. My pattern has been made me a puzzle piece that will not fit there in a way other people will. And yet, exactly these are what you attract all the time, because the universe is trying to get you to experience a contrast so that you are in enough pain to want to start to learn how to gather your own energy and choose yourself and all that. But it's so hard to be in those patterns and be in that contrast and be in that pain, because you can't escape from what you're attracting. um, yeah, and then this just causes you to walk around the world leading a life that is devoid of personal value. Like, you don't know how to experience your that divine weight of self. um, you yearn for it through other people, you yearn for it in the approvals and the approving nods, and if somebody wants to invite you in your social circle, you yearn for that sliver of taste of self-value and self-worth. But ultimately the solution is to gather your energy back so that you feel it directly yourself, that sense of who you are, your weightedness, not that kind of headless, bodiless feeling, body without a head feeling, but like, no, this is who I am, and like feeling clamped, like kind of gathered and solidified in your own aura. So I will say that the solution to that I I think that came to me is like, for me that's the right thing to do, is to, whenever you walk into this any place, start deeply prioritizing yourself, how you feel. Start caring about how you feel. The minute you realize that your energy is scattered, start really going back to the core, how you feel. It doesn't matter you look lost. It doesn't matter you look scared. It doesn't matter you look uncool, unattractive, whatever it is. It doesn't matter you look like an outsider. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you care despite all of what other people might see, despite how you might look. Choosing back to how you feel is like the number one antidote to kind of gather back that energy, that who you are. Pattern is one thing to go through trauma, which sucks. Going through the trauma to heal it, going through the emotions and really feeling into it, because trauma isn't like a head thing, it's a full body thing, sucks. And then I think one of the worst thing is to turn back around, instead of running, choosing right into the pain. All the awkwardness you might feel, your body might go awkward, you might feel weird, you might start to do something with your fingers and hands, all of a sudden the persona that used to advertise suddenly is breaking away consciously, so, and then it might confuse people, like, oh, who am I talking to, who is she, whatever it is. You're gonna experience all of that disapprovals, and then choose yourself back. That's what you're here to do, regardless of what the world thinks. I choose me, who I am innately. It's not gonna feel good at first, but it's damn worth it, because it's boundaries, it's a sense of self, it's choosing your own essence, it is beyond self approval, it is self embodiment, steps into self embodiment. From that, I believe that what is going to unfold is sweet, and is something that we desire to experience, which is why in the first place we opted into such a difficult pattern. So yeah, as a parentified eldest daughter with a lot of social anxiety and this feeling of a head without a body, with no weight in social settings of any kind, this is the insights I got. Felt important to share it, to really express it. And I really hope that somebody benefits from it. I think this pattern is, what I said is not just um, applicable to the person who is exactly this criteria, which is like eldest daughter, girl, social anxiety, awkwardness, etc., etc. It could also be probably working for people who are like comedians, they have a sense of humor, but it's actually to mask themselves, or any other kinds of people pleasing, people who have been neglected at home, people who have been they suffered some sort of abandonment in some spectrum, whether it is psychological, mental, energetic, physical, even, and just anyone who has not been given but gave and gave and gave, because they have not been given, they gave um, in order to survive in social settings and stuff. I hope this video has some direct or indirect value for them as well. And I just hope that whoever is watching it find some answers, find some healing, find some uh, relief, appeasement in this video. Yeah, comment me your thoughts. Bye bye and take care.